And that was what laughter used to be. Do you remember it? Do you remember when there was like things to laugh at?
I've forgotten the sound of laughter
From the before
stretch of
times.
smiling.
From the before
We
times.
forgot the taste of bread and the sound of trees. We even forgot our own name.
Oh, what's that from?
That's that's Return of the King.
Oh God.
That's something I watched over Easter.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did you go watch the second trilogy?
The only trilogy.
Hey. It's not Return of the King.
Okay,
it's the Jedi.
the only Tolkien trilogy, I should say.
Even the trees walked in those fucking movies.
Oh boy, did they! And he's that little one who gets set on fire and then puts himself out in the flood. It's cute. I love it.
Oh, baby tree. Baby tree. Do,
Well,
do, do, do. Baby
I
ant.
say baby tree. It's
Big boy
pretty
tree.
fucking big still. Pretty fucking big tree.
Pretty fucking big tree. Welcome everybody to the Big Damn Pretty Fucking Big Tree
Hello.
podcast roundup. My name is Chris. Please stay behind the designated lines made out in tape on the supermarket floor, Johnson.
And I am no tree. I am an ent.
I'm Jonathan Rhys-Davies collecting 2 paychecks, Watson.
May as well.
He does, it's him, isn't it? It is him.
Yeah, it's John Rhys Davies.
Who else doubles up? No, it's not in that. It's not in that. It's a different Peter Jackson film. In King Kong, Andy Serkis double dips.
Yeah, because he's the cook and he's Kong.
Mocap for Kong. Yeah. Gets a little second souchon of
Second
money.
slice of that Jackson pie.
Oh. When you read the credits, I mean, I know you've watched the Lindsay Ellis doc on The Hobbit and everything, but
No.
when you read the credits for The Hobbit, Andy Serkis is involved in all 3 of them.
New second unit director.
Second unit director. He does some producer work on one of them. And you can't help but think, did this third movie only happen because everyone from Peter Jackson's like phone contacts wanted a conservatory or something?
I think it happened because they had to support him to stop him from just blowing his goddamn brains out at having to make this fucking movie 3 times.
Here's the thing. He didn't have to make that movie. He didn't have to. He could have left it to Guillermo. And it would have been 2 parts and pretty.
The studio wanted him to make it, and then Guillermo had to drop out. So the studio was like, right, you need to make this movie for us.
Yeah. But did he have to make that movie for him? That's what I want to know.
I mean, he could have not eaten, I suppose.
True. Oh, no, because he could have released an extended edition of the trilogy. Sorry, the second trilogy. The Walking Trilogy.
The Walking Trilogy. They're both walking trilogies.
Star Wars isn't a walking trilogy. Oh, you mean the Hobbit?
Yeah. Both the Middle-earth trilogies are walking trilogies.
Even the dwarves walked in those fucking movies.
Wait. The dwarves do walk.
They roll in barrels. In case people are wondering,
they normally pop out of holes in the ground.
We normally talk about current popular culture, but there is none.
There is no popular culture.
There's none at all. Except for the fact that WWE can be added to the list of companies that treat their employees like shit.
Yeah, but we already knew that before the whole coronavirus thing.
We did.
Because they treat them as independent contractors rather than employees, so they don't have proper health coverage and things like that.
But not only have been continuing to perform for SmackDown and all that stuff to no audiences because of like healthcare coverage and everything. Like they basically have to work to have healthcare coverage. Not only that, ladles and jelly spoons. Just before this recording, I found out that some of their most recent acquisitions have been dropped by the company to save money. People who've been signed within the last year have been dropped to save the company money.
Yep.
They could afford to keep them.
Vince McMahon,
even working for the WWE,
a piece of shit.
Doesn't. Which is why Trump has just brought him on board for the economy talks.
Fuck off.
Genuinely, Vince McMahon has been brought in by Trump to help reopen the American economy.
Well, that's horrible.
It is, because Trump only knows businessmen from TV that he watches.
You know that he's delayed the checks going out to people because he wants his name on all of them.
Wait, who, McMahon?
No, Donald Trump.
Oh, Christ.
He's delayed the check, the sort of the holdover checks, that the $1,200 checks going out to everyone. Because he wants his name printed on all of them.
Jesus. My favourite thing about him this week, and I don't say that often, which is usually derogatory, as is this. My favourite Trump fact this week is that a bunch of state senators in the States, as our American listeners will know, have basically stood up against him and said, like, look, you are planning to open America's a load of states up for the economy soon. If we don't think it is safe enough to do that for the people living in the states that are in our jurisdiction, we're not going to open them up again. Businesses are not going to be opening up. We're going to veto what the president tells us to do. Which is good, because that means those senators are looking out for, their bloody people, the people who voted for them, the people that are in their care.
Their constituents, yeah.
And Trump put a tweet out talking about how his favourite old-time movie is Mutiny on the Bounty. A little mutiny keeps things exciting, but, don't forget, you all need things from your captain. And just being all vague and so obviously not pointing out anyone directly, but he's clearly talking to these people who made the statement, these senators. Trump's clearly never watched Mutiny on the Bounty. Because it ends with Captain Bligh sailing out in a boat with a freaking hole in it, and he's going to die.
Well,
what's his point here?
Or maybe he has.
Watch that thing with the mutiny in the title. Yeah.
Did you see his press conference meltdown?
Oh, which one? That's the saddest part.
How he had absolute authority.
Yeah, oh god! And then a day later, was she from? She was either from I think she was from CBS. I might be wrong. A reporter grilled him on it. There's two. One lady grilled him on it, saying, like, "What's this all absolute authority about?" And he's like, "Don't misconstrue my words. Don't this, that, the other, blah blah blah." And then another one challenges him on, right, you've just shown us a film about all the actions you've done, to combat the coronavirus. So propaganda, basically. But even in your film, you miss out the entirety of the month of February. What were you all doing during February? And he immediately goes on the attack and calls her fake news and tells her to shut up and is like, if you watch the thing, we had it in there. And she's like, no, you didn't. There wasn't anything for February in there. And he just bites back. He's so horrible to her. And, fake news, all the bullshit that he's introduced into the lexicon.
I think what needs to happen is someone needs to ask him a question at one of these press conferences that pushes him. Yeah. And then anyone else he moves on to afterwards needs to ask the same question.
Exact same question. Yes. Because all of these things he's doing are live. Everyone can see him lying and crumbling the moment he's challenged. So if they just kept at it, he'd just strop. He'd just walk out of there. The only reason he's doing these daily press conferences isn't to reassure the American people. It's because he can't go to his rallies anymore.
Yeah.
This is the closest he can get to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a good thing that our Prime Minister was hospitalised for a week, because you didn't have to listen to him fucking talk.
And more sensible people dealt with it all.
And now he's going to be, more sensible.
Well,
in the most relative of terms.
Yeah. Do you hear about Scotland though?
What, they've finally broken free and have pushed themselves off the main landmass.
They've cracked the border of the actual landmass and they've used oars to push themselves away.
Fucking left us to die like we deserve.
In Scotland, 1 second, guys. I've got a dog intruding on the podcast. Minnie, you want to come in?
How dare
Put the doorstop on, and then she can stay in here with me. So she can
I
roam
can
freely.
see that little wagging tail.
That's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind.
I don't mind.
Lucy and my dog have just invaded the podcast.
How dare they?
Much like Scotland have invaded our topic of conversation. Haha. Because
Scotland invading.
Yeah, hands down one of the lowest death rates in the world during all of this. Wasn't when the first report came through, it wasn't even in the double digits. And I know it's a small country, all things considering, compared to other places, but in terms of the rate, I do hope the rest of the world looks at Scotland and goes, "Can we do what they're doing?"
Well, Nicola Sturgeon shut things down a week before we did.
Yeah, because Nicola Sturgeon's got a head on her shoulders, it seems. Which is a good bloody move. But yeah, so what's been really fun is I've been doing a lot of Twitch games and playing stuff online to try and provide daily schedule for my brain, but also, sort of distraction for anybody who's watching games and stuff. And I've been doing it on twitch.tv/officialcdj and twitch.tv/bigdamstream.
How dare you?
Subscribe, folks. And but when I've been doing it, I've been trying to avoid games when I put them up for vote and stuff with pandemics or diseases or like zombie outbreaks and stuff. Just, because it's not what we need right now.
I don't know. I've been quite enjoying Resident Evil.
Well, that's the thing. I'd be then like, at the end of the night, I'd be like, right, let's raid someone who's online. Oh, brilliant. They're playing Resi 3. Okay. Yeah, well, off you all go. There you go. But the most recent one, my viewers voted Spider-Man as a playthrough, like a blast through. So I've been playing it through on spectacular difficulty so that it's not too difficult that we can't get through the story.
Then you forgot about the Devil's Breath, didn't you?
I totally forgot about the Devil's Breath. And the fact that it when you find all the info on Osborn's system in his office when you break into Oscorp, that it's just like, yeah, pandemic, and here's what it is, and here's what it does, and it attacks the immune system, and I was like, well, I guess Spider-Man's also one of these games, but it's too late because the Raft's coming up, and I don't want to not play it.
As well, awesome. Yeah, it's pretty fucking great, so get on with it.
Spider-Man has been, speaking again on it, Spider-Man has been trending for nearly 24 hours in the UK as of this recording, because a couple media sites reported the question yesterday, on Tuesday the 14th, what's the best Spider-Man movie? How would you rank the Spider-Man movies, folks? And go.
Japanese Spider-Man.
He didn't get a movie, unfortunately.
No, it was
even though he is the emissary of death. And I don't think anyone's counting Nicholas Hammond's two...
No, the Nicholas Hammond TV movies.
Brief theatrical releases for those films, but... Spider-Man versus the Dragon. But the rankings have been sticking around, and the things that the things that have stayed in the Twitter. This is how slow the pop culture landscape, heck, the cultural landscape is right now. The Twitter trending topics in the UK for the last 24 hours have included the words Andrew Garfield, Spider-Verse, and Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man 2. Those are the four recurring phrases that have never left. Raimi was in there for a good portion of the first 12 hours.
For other reasons as well.
Yeah, well, not for writing and producing The Golden Arm for Queeby.
Oh, God.
Have you seen any of that?
No, I've not seen any Queeby stuff yet.
So, there's some
the trailers we saw coming out of Super Bowl.
There's some clips doing the rounds on Twitter at the moment for The Golden Arm, which is a morality tale about an amputee who gets this golden arm, and it's about her... It's very Fable-esque. It's about her hubris and everything, and...
Hubris!
Yeah, but it starts to poison her and kill her, and it's played completely straight, and it's like a 3-part drama. Just look up any clips of The Golden Arm and marvel at the fact it isn't an SNL skit taken out of context. It's an actual drama, and Sam is involved, which makes me very sad.
Well, no, because if it was an NSL skit, it'd be poking fun at the politics.
True, in a whir. Although SNL attempted their first home show this past week. They recorded all the skits from home, so it was like individual monologue pieces and weird little character pieces. But the best of all, guess who they got to host it?
Me.
Wait, what? I'm looking this up right now.
No, that's next week, sorry.
The host, although the host was just giving the monologue at the top end, was Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They got Tom Hanks in to do it, and he's back home. What's really good is he says, no, there's no need to worry. You don't have to distance from your screen. Everything looks to be on the mend. In fact, I'm back home now, here in America. If anything, I'm even more like America's dad right now, because everyone wants to get away from me the moment I start talking to them, and I make people feel uncomfortable. And you're like, oh my God, we must protect him at all costs. Though he didn't resurrect David S. Pumpkins, but I'm going to put that down to the fact that there probably just wasn't a suit in his house.
It's not Halloween yet.
Well, it ain't. But it could be, because Spider-Man. I'm trying to link back to Spider-Man.
Halloween's cancelled.
Halloween... Oh, that's a good point. What's the post-production on Halloween... What's it called? Halloween again? Halloween Kills.
Halloween again.
What's the post-production like on that? I'm assuming they've not filmed
I don't know.
Filmed it all yet?
I I don't know.
Because they were doing them back to back.
I couldn't tell you.
One would imagine production would start like now. No, hang on. Depends on how much post-production there is involved.
They started shooting it, but I don't know if they finished.
Yeah. Will there be a Halloween this year, or will they have to put them all back another year?
I mean, I wasn't talking about the franchise. I was talking about the festival.
Well,
the festivities.
Well, see, that's why these Spider-Man polls, segue, fill the time. But I was just wondering, considering the debates
Into the
raging...
Spider-Verse is the best one. Next question.
See, right, so Lucy and I had a chat about it. I was trying to figure out what my rankings would actually be of the 8 theatrical Spider-Man movies. And I think I've hit mine. I think Spider-Man 2 is still number 1, followed very closely by Into the Spider-Verse. Because Spider-Man 2 is the best movie made using the topic of Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie ever made. Then Spider-Man from 2002. I would have originally said Homecoming next, but Far From Home, because just the Mysterio stuff pipped it to the post for me. I was so delighted to see that wackiness and the Ditko-ness of all that on screen. Then Homecoming, because that third act is an absolute blast, where it's just pajamas Peter with his goggles on fighting the Vulture, and all that stuff is so good.
It's a proper banger.
It's a banger that slaps, good sir. Then Spider-Man 3, then Amazing Spider-Man, then Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I think Amazing Spider-Man's better than Spider-Man 3.
I disagree. Ooh, healthy debate. Go on.
That's about the only thing I'd probably change, though.
Where would you put them, Squire?
Into the Spider-Verse is the best one.
And then none others on the list.
And then... Next question. Spider-Man 2... Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man, Far From Home, Homecoming. They're all kind of like on very level peggings.
Yeah.
And then after that, you got Amazing Spider-Man, which is fine. Spider-Man 3, which is bad, but there's some fun to be had in there. And Amazing Spider-Man 2, which has no redeeming features whatsoever.
Except memeability.
No, it has no redeeming features.
Most accurate from page to screen rendition of the costume.
It has no redeeming features.
Andrew Garfield has glorious hair.
It has no redeeming features.
None
of these things are good enough.
There's a part where he's in the costume, but he's in a gilet and a woolly hat with mittens because it's cold out. And there's another bit where he puts on the fireman's hat on his costume and uses the loudspeaker.
Can you say gilet again, please?
Gilet.
Thank you.
Mufasa. Ooh.
Oh, we watched a bit of the live action Lion King.
Please define live action.
The recent remake.
No,
of the Lion King.
Did you watch it on Disney Plus?
No, it was on Now TV.
Because on there they've renamed them.
Okay.
They're reimagined classics.
Oh.
They're not remakes. They're reimagined classics. So
you
watched some of the reimagined Lion King.
Keek started watching it, and then I joined in around the time of I Just Can't Wait to Be King.
Where they're just sort of lightly walking around an area because you can't have them piling up in a musical display.
Yes. And me and Keek was like, why did they make this? Why did they make this? And then we managed to make it to Hakuna Matata before we were just like, I can't listen. As much as I love my boy Seth Rogen, I can't listen to him try and sing this.
Oh, yeah, because there's that debate about whether or not they knew he couldn't hold the tune, so they were kind of going, it'll be funny because it's endearing that Pumbaa's not really carrying the tune the same way, or whether or not no one thought beyond, well, we've cast a celebrity.
You don't replace Nathan Lane with someone who can't hold a tune.
Is Billy Eichner any good then as Timon? Is he any decent?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Because there's one clip I've seen of it that makes me really annoyed, and it's a joke where it relies on you knowing the original inside out.
He's better than John Oliver as Zazu.
No.
Yeah, he just talks his lines.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. They just hired him because it was, who's a funny British man? He'll do.
Chiwetel Ejiofor does a pretty damn good Be Prepared.
Even though he doesn't sing it. He just sort of speaks it a bit.
Yeah, but it's sort of snarled. And
Yeah,
he sings,
but they keep
he sings it when he
chickening
needs
out.
to.
They keep chickening out of the villain songs.
He almost does. But not quite. I reckon he could have done, but I reckon they directed him not to.
It's weird, isn't it? But the one gag that's got in my craw is the whole like, when I got downhearted, how did it feel every time that I... And normally in the original film, Timon then cuts in and goes, Pumba, not in front of the kids. Oh, sorry. Boom. Hakuna Matata. And the song carries on because he stops him saying farted. In the film, don't they like egg that out? Like really stretch out that moment?
I don't even remember that bit.
Well, there you go. That's how much of an impact it made.
Yeah, it just sort of washed over me. I was just going, this is terrible.
The clip I've seen, Timon Pumbaa keeps nearly saying farted, and then looks at Timon and he goes like, "Are you going to interrupt me?" And Timon goes like, "No, you're going to say it, so go on." And it's like, why would he expect him to interrupt him?
Yeah.
Unless Pumbaa is aware of the original movie.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Why? Why is this a thing?
I mean, no, it's just it's just very realistic CGI animals whose mouths move.
It's homeward bound.
There's no flair or sort of visual artistry to it. It's just it just doesn't have any of the magic that the original has because it's so they've focused on making it photorealistic without actually giving it any character.
Yeah. I feel bad for Favreau in a way. I mean, not for his bank account, but like, it seems like he had to do that to get the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Almost. Do you know what I mean? Like, you gave us Jungle Book. You gave us Iron Man 1 and 2. They were amazing. Brilliant. I want to do the Star Wars thing. Cool, but first, you did the Jungle Book, right? So you did the animals. Do it again. Is there any humans to interact with? No.
Chris.
Well, doesn't that kind of like strip it of any humanity? Do that again.
Can you imagine if they do that with the upcoming Robin Hood remake? Instead of anthropomorphic animals, they just make photorealistic actual animals doing Robin Hood.
See, that would at least be...
Can you imagine
that? Would at least be different, I guess, but it would also be pointless. It's like, why is this Robin Hood? Why is just a fat wolf walking around a castle saying, "Oh, I've got to get gold for Robin Hood. Robin Hood, mate."
A quote-unquote live-action Robin Hood with actors mocapping stuff and then having the characters painted over them could be pretty good.
Or it could be the fuel for Tumblr for years to come.
It could be good, or it could be Cats.
Release the butthole cut.
It would be better than Cats because they'd be using actual mocap suits rather than
digital fur technology. Though, did you see what Alison Pregler, also known as Obscurus Looper, she does like NAF film retrospectives and like she watches things like Baywatch in their entirety and does a series of a retrospective on it and stuff. She highlighted on Twitter this week that Disney Plus have been showing selected versions. It's been brought by other people in the last like 6 months since it's been out in the States, but she sort of brought it back up. They've been using select versions of films on Disney Plus, like airline versions here and there, just to censor
editing
things.
Stuff.
But most notably this week, she watched Splash.
Yeah,
and it's Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah.
Yeah, she kisses Tom Hanks. There he is again.
Hey.
Keep your bingo cards at the ready, guys. Third mention of Tom Hanks gets you a free cheese wheel. And she's running away from him. She kisses him. She runs back toward the sea. Now, for those who don't know, in this film, she's a mermaid, but she has legs on land. When she gets back in the sea, she has a tail. So she runs away. Long hair's covering her frontus. Long hair down her back. Normally in the movie, bare booty as she runs into the sea. In this, extra long hair.
Very badly CGI'd on.
Yeah, in like those are either really weird extensions, or she's got hair coming out of the lower part of her back covering her.
She's got hair coming out
arse.
of the lower part of her back. Clearly,
it's so strange. It's
not
so,
the only
so
thing
strange.
they've changed either. Like, apparently, they've taken a gag out of Toy Story 2.
What? Which one?
Apparently, there's a casting couch gag in Toy Story 2, which I don't remember.
The outtakes, I kind of get that. Yeah, in the outtakes at the end. Stinky Pete, the prospector, is sort of talking to the Barbies about if he could get them a role in Toy Story 3. Yeah, I remember that. I kind of get that. But that being said, Final Fantasy VII Remake's been doing the rounds this past week. Like, people have got their physical copies.
yeah.
And an entire story section of that has, like, Cloud in a dress. And
Well, I've been
getting
replaying...
roofied to be used as a sexual, like, favour for someone.
I've been replaying the original on Switch, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that section in the original.
Yeah.
And it is creepy!
Yeah, and I know it's not... Obviously, the character and everything is someone that you then fight and take down and they're bad guys, but it's still, like... It's weird to see current culture sort of still using this as a trope. So I get why they've taken that out.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of messed up stuff in FF7.
I misheard you for a second. I thought you said there's a lot of S-Club stuff. I was like,
well...
That'd be amazing. There ain't no party like an S-Club party.
1997, was that just before S-Club?
Yeah, it was like on the cusp of them, yeah.
On the cusp of Sclub. We are on the cusp of Sclub.
Then we got Jo. She's got the flow. She's also a massive racist. Here we go.
So we mentioned Sam Raimi earlier.
We did.
As we were talking about Spider-Man.
In the hopes that he will appear.
And turns out he's actually come out and said, yes, I am directing Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I am doing it.
Yeah, it was off the back of someone asking him about the Spider-Man film questions, wasn't it? Like, oh, your three Spider-Man movies are like being mentioned a lot in this poll. It seems like Spider-Man 2 is sort of the clear favourite for everybody. And he's like, yeah, brilliant. Well, it's lovely. And I never knew that, I'd be... I think the quote is something like, and I never knew when we did that Doctor Strange Easter egg in the movie, Spider-Man 2, that I'd be making, telling that story one day. And it's like, hang on. Sam, did you just confirm outright that you are indeed directing?
I think it was pretty much all but confirmed at that.
It existed in that weird, like, hey, how about that news like bubble that the internet has provided us over the last couple of decades, where people involved let us know it's happening before the official studio statement happens.
Yeah.
Like, we all knew there was going to be a Black Panther 2 before they said, we're working on Black Panther 2. And it was because we'd all found out that Boseman had signed on and Coogler had signed on. But that was not confirmation it was happening. That was confirmation they were making it. And same here, like, Scott Derrickson had pretty much responded to someone's asking about if it was Sam Raimi a couple of months ago, and he said, like, I got into films because of films like his growing up. I couldn't think of a better person to fill my boots. And it's like, so that means it's happening then, right? That means it's happening. No one said it isn't happening. And now straight from the Shemp's mouth, the chief Shemp himself has spoken.
Bruce Campbell, of course, has been saying that he wants to be in it.
Yeah, we said, who should the villain be? It's like, well, not you, Bruce, but can we at least get you in?
I don't know,
an antagonist role of some kind.
What? Bruce Campbell as Shumagarath.
Yes, but instead of 5 tentacles, it's 5 chins.
5 chins.
5 strong jawbones.
5 chin Bruce.
No, he should narrate it in the style of his narration from the Spider-Man video games, where he's like the tutorial narration.
Yeah, all right.
It's just Doctor Strange. That's a stupid name. Oh well, you're here. Better get to doing magic. To begin, walk forward and press the action button. You can see that button, right? It's the one with the squiggly thing. No, the other one. You'll figure it out. It's just Benedict Cumberbatch looking up, just like, the fuck is happening?
You've broken, haven't you? You think you're living in the Bruce Campbell narrated universe.
I'm just saying it now. You want to live there with me, right? Come on, let's be honest. Oh, I see you're taking a shit.
There are things I do that I don't want anyone narrating.
You're gonna need to wipe between those cheeks.
That implies that they will be seeing it, and there are things I do I don't want anyone seeing.
Well.
Anybody. I'm not Louis C.K. for crying out loud.
You don't have enough potted plants around your house for starters. That's disgusting, and I love it.
Fuck.
But yeah, Sam Raimi directing it. It makes me
What
happy.
else was I going to say?
Sam Raimi?
What
Doctor
else
Strange
this week?
Shumagarath.
Shumagarath.
The future.
Shumagarath.
What did you just call me?
Shumagarath.
Oh, sure, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. There's whole generations that only know him because he's a recurring Marvel v Capcom character.
Yes.
Like, how many times has he been using comics?
His
Maybe like
main
twice.
appearance, to be fair, like he's not a huge thing in the comics.
The 90s Marvel v Capcoms, like the OG and the first home edition of number 2, which was an arcade machine. Number 2, wasn't it, in the 90s? Yeah. And then
they were all arcade machines first.
It was a console game in like 2002, I think, was when Marvel v Capcom 2 came to PS2. Like characters like Shuma Gorath and Blackheart are only remotely on anyone's radar because of those games.
Well, before that as well, because they were in the original Marvel superheroes beat 'em up.
They were, weren't they?
Yes.
Is that because it was Capcom and they were just like, they look cool, and Marvel were like, I mean, we have more important, more well-known character. Yeah, we want the tentacle monster.
But
what?
We
want the tentacle guy.
That was the lineage, because it started off. They'd made X-Men Children of the Atom.
Yes, yeah.
Which was called beat 'em up. Then that turned into Marvel Superheroes.
Aye.
Became Marvel Superheroes, which then became X-Men versus Street Fighter, which then became Marvel versus Capcom.
Which then became Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and no more.
But that's the sort of lineage. It's like they started doing beat 'em up, like 1v1 beat 'em ups, with the Marvel license, and then it sort of grew from there into the Versus series.
We want Shuma Gorath in every entry.
Yes.
I beg your pardon? Quick question. Do you have any heroes who are Japanese schoolgirls? Right, that's enough, Capcom. Goodbye.
No, terrible. Shuma Gorath and Blackheart were in Marvel Superheroes. So the roster in that was like Cap, Spider, Wolverine.
Mm-hmm. Berserker Barrage!
The final boss was Thanos because it was based on the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, cool.
It was Blackheart, Shuma Gorath. Fuck my ass. Who else?
That was Shuma Gorath's special move, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hulk, Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Magneto.
In a vest, I imagine.
Yeah, it was the 90s one, so it was like the jumpsuit.
Oh, with the
really
boots,
low cut. Yeah. But there was also the classic Hulk was in there as well. I want to say Juggernaut was in there.
Was War Machine in there?
Iron Man was in there. War Machine was in there.
Because I know War Machine was like, for number 2, I mained as Doctor Doom, Iron Man, and War Machine.
War Machine was in Marvel vs. Capcom, but I don't know if he was in Marvel Superheroes.
Because just wondering whether he was based on the fact that it's just the Iron Man sprite with some extra bits added to it.
Yeah, I think they had memory limitations,
slight attack variations, just very slight.
Let me look up Marvel Superheroes. The beat 'em up, to see what the roster was, because it's very 90s, very 90s. I mean, you got fucking Blackheart in it, so you know.
Yeah, oh god. Who, in case anyone's wondering who that is, it's the whiny kid that Ghost Rider tricks really easily in the first Ghost Rider film. I can't hurt him because I can't use the pen and stare on him, despite the fact I have many other abilities. Ah, well, he doesn't have a soul, so I can't do it. Now he's going to steal the contract from me for 1,000 souls, which will make him all powerful. Oh, wait, he's got 1,000 souls in him.
Yeah, so
pen and stare, Ghost Rider, 2006.
So the lineup
Buy our merchandise, folks.
The lineup was Blackheart, Captain America, Doctor Doom.
Yes, Doom's good.
Was a boss character you could unlock. Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, Juggernaut, Magneto, Psylocke, Shuma Gorath, Spider-Man, Thanos, and Wolverine.
Of course, Psylocke was in there.
Well, yeah, because it was a sequel to X-Men: Children of the Atom.
And also, her bum was being flossed by her costume.
Oh, yeah.
So they were absolutely going to put her in the game.
It's the 90s costume, yeah.
Yeah. The 90th 90s costume that ever 90s'd.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? No.
What else happened?
This past week?
I'm so lost. I haven't done show notes.
I'm so old. I'm so very old.
I watched Underwater.
Is that the Kristen Stewart?
The Kristen Stewart
Alien meets submarine movies.
Alien meets the Abyss, basically. Yeah.
Tell me,
good.
Don Miguel. Tell me.
It's pretty damn solid. If you like, tense. This is a bunch of people on the bottom of the ocean, and they have to walk across the bottom of the ocean, but it's the most inhospitable place in the universe. Very small cast, but very solid.
Is it?
Even if TJ Miller's in there.
Oh, God, yeah.
But it's okay. He doesn't make it to the end.
Yay! Is it true that they take advantage of a certain creature's public domain status for the end of the movie?
Christopher, I couldn't possibly say.
Because I've heard that the monstrous threat in it is a smaller thing, but then they at the end take advantage of something that's in the free.
Say no more, because it's fucking great.
Okay. Where is that? Is that on Now TV Sky Movies package?
I found it on the internet.
Oh. What?
Because I missed it at the cinema, and it's not streaming anywhere yet.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I definitely haven't seen Underwater.
Yeah, he saw it by completely legal means.
Yeah.
I say with my mouth. Okay, Underwater. Is Kristen Stewart in a comeback phase now in terms of like redefining what everyone thinks of her? Is it official?
She's good in that.
She's pretty solid in it. Because apparently Charlie's Angels did not go down well.
It didn't do well. I think it went down well. I think people liked it, but I don't think it did very well.
I saw mixed criticism. When I say mixed criticism, I mean criticism from the people who obviously were going to criticise it because they're big misogynistic crybabies. But then also people who were like, yeah, this should have been better than it was, and it really wasn't.
I mean, it probably should have been better than it was. It didn't do very well, so.
Nil for the gangbusters. Nil gangbusters.
But I tell you what else I watched on the internet this week.
Do I want to know what the next sentence out your mouth is?
Well, because I didn't watch it when it was transmitted on Dave first time round.
Oh!
I watched Red Dwarf: The Promised Land.
Yeah, boys!
Let me give you my brief review of Red Dwarf: The Promised Land.
Go on.
It was alright.
Yeah,
It was too fucking long.
See, weirdly...
It was way too fucking long.
Because you watched it on catch-up, so I'm assuming there's some pre-scheduled ad breaks on the catch-up.
Yeah, and they split it into 2 parts as well.
I would like to watch it as one cut. Like I'm a dwarf guy. I bloody love that show. Yeah, because I want to watch.
Sure?
I want to watch the 90-minute cut, not because I watched it live. So I had every ad break. I don't want to watch the 2-hour 5-minute version I saw with all the same ads on repeat. I want to watch it as an hour and a half just to see. Because Back to Earth, the 2009 special that was broken into 3 parts. On transmission, I was so excited for it because it was new Red Dwarf, first Red Dwarf in like 10 years. And I didn't like it on transmission at all. And then I got the DVD and I watched it cut together. You can watch it either as 3 separate episodes with laugh track as it was broadcast, or you can watch it as a hour 25 all cut together film without laugh track, and it works really well that way.
This is the thing. I think this would have been better without the laugh track and slightly tighter editing. I mean, it was filmed in front of an audience, but the way that it's edited, it makes the laughter track sound like canned laughter.
Yeah.
And feel like canned laughter. So some of the jokes, for me, fell flat, even though the audience was having a whale of a fucking time.
I think part of that is also down to the fact that it is a feature-length one. When you're watching a feature-length comedy, even if it's based on a sitcom, it feels weird when there's a laugh track.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be like if the Muppet movie had a laugh track.
Yeah, you imagine a comedy film with a laugh track. It'd be fucking weird.
It'd be odd. And I that's why I'm waiting for the DVD, because I'm kind of hoping there's a... I mean, obviously, I guess there can't be an alternate cut without a laugh track, really, for this one, because some scenes were filmed live. But I'd be intrigued to see.
It depends what the audio situation was like, whether they had isolated audio for the actors.
Yeah, true. Because I think the actors had a pretty damn good stab at this. You could tell they were having a whale of a time, like playing out again. Robert Llewellyn was playing a slightly more knackered Crichton than before.
The bits that really worked for it the most, in it the most for me, were like the simple sight gags, like Lister opening a bottle of beer on Crichton's head.
Yeah.
I fucking roared at that. I thought that was a really, really nice bit of physical comedy. And the giant floppy disk.
That was
that
great.
whole palaver. Like that, I thought that worked really well.
Stuff worked good. For those who don't know, it's the technically 13th series unquote in a way, because we've had the original 8 BBC series, then the Dave special Back to Earth, in which they talk about series 9 having been the best ever, and then when it came back for a full series on Dave, it started with series 10, so it's like, that's brilliant. So Back to Earth is basically series 9 if you're talking about your chronology of it all. Then we had series 11 and 12 back to back, and this is our 13th offering. It's a feature-length special, finally following up the idea of what happened to, if not all, the majority of the cat people that came about from Lister's cat, like, creating a whole new species over 3 million years. Of course,
the fucking cat flap guard got a good laugh out of me as well.
Yeah, mostly because they stuck with it. At first, I groaned and rolled my eyes, and then, like, halfway through, when it was like,
last time you're there, it's not there.
Yeah, no, that was a bit, But the third time we're watching a grown adult, performer, like, having to lie on the floor and sort of scurry through this door on a flap and then stand up and be like, sire, I was just like, they've committed to it. This is ridiculous. Well done, team. We get to meet them. We meet some of the followers of the religion of Cloister the Stupid, who believe in his teachings, and of course it's Lister, and we find out. I kind of wish this had been. I think if it were an episode, it would have been. I kind of wish this had been more from Kat's perspective.
Yeah,
I think that I Am Home would have hit much harder in the feels.
Because the revelation that the king is his brother just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean,
the idea that they're supposed to be the same age.
Yeah,
he's just had a hard life is quite good. That's quite a good gag.
But also kind of hilarious because it's like Danny John-Jules is the least aged looking of our central cast.
He looks pretty damn good.
Cat don't crack. Like, he looks amazing. But yeah, that revelation absolutely would have played heavier if it had been from his POV. Yeah. Now, there was an episode, and people who've got, like, the DVDs have access to versions of it, various versions of it. Like, when they repackage the show as repackage the DVDs as just the episodes in box sets and stuff, instead of the collector's sets. A version of an episode was cut together using animatics and whatnot. There was originally going to be an episode from, like, the 6th season or 7th season where they find a ship of Cat's people, and, like, all the males are dying, and he has to help repopulate, like, the tribe on the ship. And it would have been about that fork in the road of his story of, like, does he stay with them? Like, these are his people. Yeah. And it's like, so that's existed as a concept.
I think that's the thing for me, though, is because episodes of Red Dwarf are so much shorter than this. There isn't time for their premise to sort of wear out their welcome. And I feel this one was a bit baggy because of that.
Yeah. But then again, if it had been told entirely from Kat's perspective, it would have at least been narratively different from what we're used to in a way. Like, it wouldn't have been about all 4 of them. It would have been, this is Kat's story. And I mean, even just the way they tell it, like, have voiceover from Kat and stuff, like, recontextualize it enough that it feels like an experiment rather than, I imagine, how you felt like a stretched out episode.
Yeah, it just felt like it was a lot of filler.
Because it tried to give everyone arcs, but in doing so, it repeated one that Dave had already been through in Series 1. When the first and up to now only time they touched on this storyline. In Series 1, there's the story where they, like, toward the end of it, he finds, like, a priest or one of the cats that the cat keeps visiting, living in the ship, living in Red Dwarf. And he's blind and old, and it's this whole thing of that episode's about Lister dealing with the idea that there's a whole society out there somewhere that thinks he's a god and that he's done something important and they're learning from his teachings. And it's a lot of horse shit. But then he understands, like, the power of faith and belief, and that's more important than him feeling a responsibility. It's like, if the faith is helping people, that's more important. And he helps this guy pass away, like, by making him think that Cloister the Stupid, the god that they worship, is there. And it's like, be all and end all. He feels awkward about it all, but he understands why it's a good thing in some ways. That story's ended there. They've done it. Yeah. So the fact this focused on his responsibility as a god, or a perceived god, it was like, okay, we've done this now. Then you have Rimmer's existential crisis, which sort of doesn't exist, but suddenly happens about 2/3 of the way in because of something Kat says to him. That in itself would have been better as an episode of Red Dwarf.
Yeah. It feels like they couldn't quite get the funding for a full season, so they just jammed a bunch of episodes into 90 minutes.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like that, in that... Because notice how it wasn't recommissioned, and it's not because it didn't do well. It's always it's like Dave's most highest rated program when it does a new series.
Because it
even more so than favourites like Taskmaster and stuff. Like it absolutely trounces them in its ratings and overnights when it comes back, because it's such an event. Like people grew up with Red Dwarf, and here's a brand new 6 episode season.
The stuff on the Maroon Starbug felt like an episode into itself.
Yeah.
That could have been. They could have just been marooned on a planet before you get there, and it just... Because there are episodes like that where they're just stuck somewhere for reasons that they don't really go into and that aren't really related to the story of the episode.
Yeah.
It's more about what happens when they're there.
Like we start with them playing golf on a moon and things like that. Yeah. I mean, the best episode, as far as I'm concerned, my favourite to this day is Marooned from Series 3, which just, for the majority of it, it's Lister and Rimmer trapped in Starbug.
Yeah.
With like 3 days to live, just bickering for 3 days. It's so well written and performed. And I think the best stuff in this really was those few moments where they just let, again, either Chris Barry and Craig Charles, or in this case, more so than any other pairing, Robert Llewellyn and Chris Barry, just faff around and
the sort of who's on first routine with Crichton and Rimmer in the lab.
Yeah,
early on,
like
where he's deleting his memories. He's great.
Erase your memory of that command. Okay, and then he gets another prompt and remembers. It's like, right, hang on, forget that I told you to forget that then, and forget it up to. Yeah, that was brilliantly done.
And see, it's working. It's working as a stage performance there.
Yeah.
Whereas it doesn't work as a stage performance when they're like running through the corridors of the ship. And it all feels a bit more slickly put together. It feels like it's shot more like a multi-camera drama.
Yeah.
Or multi-camera sitcom without a laugh track, but then the laugh track fades in. And it's the way it fades in and out which makes it feel canned. It's not there all the time.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah, there was some of that, wasn't there? Like, the best scene in it for me was the scene where Rimmer, like, spoke to Lister about it was just the two of them.
That was brilliant. Yeah, that was really, it was really brilliant writing. And it wasn't trying to be I think some of this was silly stuff trying to be silly. Like a lot of the stuff with the 3 followers felt a bit like, oh, this is just trying to be silly and funny. It's not really landing for me. But then there's some genuinely funny moments in that scene between Lister and Rimmer, but it's also touching because it's about those characters. And like the best stuff in Red Dwarf, the best comedy in Red Dwarf comes from the characters and the way they deal with the situations, not from like people saying holy popperdom over and over again. Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why Series 8 to me isn't as bad as everyone makes it out to be.
Yeah.
And it's because we get back to, because it's a resurrected Rimmer and Lister stuck in the Canary, stuck in prison in the new Red Dwarf, we get back to scenes of just those two.
Yeah.
And like who they are and how they bounce off each other and how they grate on each other's nerves, and it's just so much fun to watch. Although I do love the moments where Lister kind of, and this scene was absolutely one, where Lister kind of admits that it's not all just hatred. Like he does admire him in some ways.
Yeah. Which I think is then undermined by the last gag of the episode.
Oh, which one? The
where they all start worshipping Rimmer instead.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you could have done something actually thoughtful about this, about them learning to, the promised land is somewhere inside you, and it's not.
Yeah.
You're not a literal god, but you're still led by example and stuff, and we don't worship you anymore, but there's still something you're worth admiring.
Yeah.
And then in all of it, but then they just make it a gag about worshipping Rimmer.
I think the only reason that happened was because someone came up with the visual gag of the spaceships going from the cat face to the letter H. That'll probably be why.
Also, not a bad visual gag, to be fair.
Yeah, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if that was the reason. That's why it ended with that gag. Because someone thought, and then they could do that, and it'll be an H, and we'll go to the credits.
But I think that's the problem. Like, there's too much in this for me, where they did it because they thought it would be funny, rather than they did it because it made sense.
Yeah.
Because it's the stuff in, like, the best Red Dwarf is, like I say, it's not funny because it's trying to be funny necessarily. It's funny because it makes sense, and that's funny for those characters.
Paired up with the occasional ridiculously well-timed line like that. Sometimes you can have a gag line that just comes out of nowhere and is just genius. I mean, of course, the winner is from like series 5 or 6, where it's like, go to red alert. Are you sure, sir? That would mean changing the bulb. It's just so quick, so beautifully done. Like that stuff is,
I'm just laughing because I can see fucking Robert Llewellyn's face saying that fucking line.
Just a slight concern through all that rubber.
Good.
Well, speaking of Llewellyn, let's touch off on the things that really did work for us in this one. The stuff that was really fun. I liked Crichton's subtle redesign. The patched up sections of his body, like they've got to the point now where they clearly can't be asked doing upgrades or whatever, and it's just like there's just a metal plate over part of him, and one of his arms is dirty as hell, and it's just like, oh, they've given up looking after him. This is really depressing.
Yeah.
The floppy disk was funny. That was a funny job, especially because it was an exact floppy disk drawer with the clicking button and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And all the modem dial-up sounds when they're trying to when they're bringing him online and then trying to get in touch with him. In fact, all the stuff with Holly I thought was really, really good.
Yeah, I was concerned because for the first half, again, that sounds like an episode in itself. They boot up Holly again. Yeah, they find a backup and they boot him, and it goes horribly wrong. And then they have to kind of trick him back to normal at the end. But that reassured me because I was like, oh, is Love It just kind of lost it and it's here for nostalgia's sake? But then when he flipped and he started acting more like Holly, you were like, again. Oh, it was literally the performance, thank God, because once he was back, it was like, oh, there he is, there's Holly.
It's the moment where he's like, what's happening, dudes?
Yeah. It's like, and there he is.
Hey, Holly's back. But that's the thing, though. The solution they come up with for the Holly problem, they could have done it any other time.
Yeah.
But the only reason they don't do it is so they can have this 90-minute long adventure away from Red Dwarf. Yeah. They didn't need to do that.
Just remember my favourite Holly line from the thing. It's from the early intros. It's from like series 1 or 2. It's the whole like, I have an IQ of 6,000, which is about the same as 6,000 PE teachers. Oh Christ!
Yeah. Honestly, there was like an episode's worth of good material in this special, which is what? How long are the original episodes? Like 20 minutes?
25 minutes.
25.
Yeah. A BBC half hour for the late 80s. So with enough gap for them to do like a news bulletin or something afterwards, maybe late night. Yeah. And then they go to half hour from like series 3.
So it's like a good episode's worth of stuff in this, and then like 2 episodes worth of chaff.
Yeah, like you said, it was probably the plots of 3 different episodes, and they seem to be one of those. Yeah,
just doesn't quite work.
The flow's not.
And it's a shame because I like seeing New Red Dwarf, but there was more in this that didn't work for me.
Yeah,
than did, and I think a big part of it though is my tastes having changed in regards to laugh tracks.
Yeah, we've talked about this on the podcast
even though it is a live laugh track, the way that it's mixed in makes it sound fake.
It's about the editing at the end of the day. The editing can make or break that nowadays.
And I don't think that was handled well.
Is it weird that that's part of the reason why I love Series 7? Probably the most hated series. Well, there is a laugh track, but for a few of the episodes there isn't, because you can watch extended cuts. And I think the versions on Netflix are the extended cuts of 3 of the episodes where they're like 45 minutes long. Because Series 7 was not shot in front of an audience. It was completely shot because they wanted to directorially just give it a different look and a different flavour. And it's absolutely the best looking series of the BBC years, Series 7. It looks fantastic. But a lot of people hate it because Rimmer leaves. They're not fond of the Kachansky stuff. Yeah. But I kind of like it because it feels like the characters are given room to breathe more. The actors are given room to act more. Well, rather than slip back into the comfy coat of the part. They sort of, that's when Lister starts getting some meatier stuff, like where Trey Charles starts to get to play with the drama of being that character a bit.
Well, I
which
remember
he does so well.
Season 7 airing.
Yeah.
That's the first one I remember watching as it aired and really enjoying.
Yeah.
So,
you know, people are wrong. Let's kick them. But all I know is it's made me want to see more. I want more.
Yeah, I just want to go back and watch more early Red Dwarf.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do now.
I wouldn't be surprised if this got a new series greenlit. Because
I'm surprised this wasn't a series, to be honest.
I think it's cost probably. Like, it's not an expensive show to make, but they obviously Dave are a smaller network compared to other hundreds of channels out there, so they obviously spend wisely. That's why series 11 and 12 were shot back to back. They were aired a year apart, as traditional series are, but they were shot back to back in one go with like a 2-week break in the middle. And you know, over the course of like series 10 came out in like 2012, and we had series 10, 11, and 12 between 2012 and like 2017. So they take their time making it. It's not made a lot,
which is good. I'd rather they not rush it.
True, and it costs to have set storage. That's just a cost of production, as you can see from this. They did not build new stuff. Like, they absolutely still have the sets from series 12 and series 11 and 12 like ready to go. They've had the new Medi base in series 10. So it's you know, they're ready to make it. They have to be careful with their money. Taskmaster's probably the most expensive thing Dave make, and it's not an expensive show to make.
No.
But they make like 3 series of it a year, so...
They probably spend most of that on the cast.
True, yeah. Well,
for Taskmaster, to be fair.
I could probably ask one. I could ask Ian.
Yeah.
Just ask Ian and be like, how much do they pay for that?
Because it's 4 teams of 2?
Not always teams of 2. Sometimes they're working on their own for their own points.
Well, how many people is it?
I think it's either 4 or 6. I think actually for a series.
4 or 6 people.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, that's six people.
I know the format's changed a bit from series to series, but yeah.
Plus Greg, what's his name?
Greg Wallace
hosting.
And Dan Thingy, whatever he's called.
Yes.
Greg, what did we say? Greg Wallace, Greg Davies.
Greg Davis. I always fucking do
Greg
that.
Wallace is the bloody the chef bloke, the master
we
chef
did that
guy.
when we were talking about Doctor Who. I said Greg Wallace would have meant Greg Davis.
Greg Wallace likes the base. He likes the buttery base. He likes the buttery biscuit base.
Hey!
Nutty base, buttery base, buttery biscuit base.
Now shine my baldy head.
Oh God!
Fucking
but yeah, so like that. Hopefully, this is the thing where viewing figures and the reviews for this were really good. A lot of them due to it being the timing of its release as well. Like, a lot of the pull quotes on the day was the spark of distraction and joy we need right now, and like, this is the perfect cure for what ails you for a rather, you know, miserable time in our recent history.
I wish I'd liked it more, but too much of it just fell flat for me.
But on the upside, it's giving you a perfect excuse to revisit the earlier seasons on Netflix.
Yeah, and the stuff that's on UK TV Play that I haven't watched yet. So I've not watched all of the newer series.
Best episode from the two best things to come out of the Dave era so far are both in series 10, and they're the episode Father and Sons, where it's Father's Day.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
That's brilliant. And Lemons. The one with Jesus. The one with Jesus.
Yeah, I've seen those two.
Those two are super.
They're great.
They are so good. They're like top tier BBC Red Dwarf, like tucked into a season of Dave. It's so good.
It's one idea. They get as much out of it as they can in 25 minutes, and then they fuck off. Like, that's when the Red Dwarf's at its best. I think that's why this didn't work for me.
Yeah, but hey, hopefully we get more, and we get it in shorter increments.
Yes,
and,
no Red Dwarf the movie, please.
And can Rimmer have the wig that the flashback looks for him had? Because Rimmer's wig from the last 2 series in this movie has always annoyed me. Chris Barry's wig has always got on my wick. It's such an odd, like, side parting and quiff combed into itself. It just looks really odd. And yet, in this, where they threw us a massive nostalgia bone with the bit where it was like going through the different hologram types, and it was just all the outfits he's worn, basically, for like the BBC run. The wig for those looks looked better than the one he wears. Hell, give him the superhero one. Give him the what was his name?
The
Mighty Lighty. Give him the Mighty Lighty one. That looked better than the one he wears.
Glitter guy.
Isn't it strange to think that
diamond lights.
When Craig plays Lister, I couldn't spot him in this, but he doesn't seem to have like the dreads in anymore.
I don't think so.
Or if he does, he has like the tiny ones at the back of the neck instead of the big buggers. But half of the cast are wearing wigs. I mean, Danny John Jules has on and off worn wigs for Cat based on what his real life hair has been at the time of filming.
Yeah.
But ever since it's come back, he's always in wigs. Chris Barry's always in wigs.
It's just a consistency thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But they're getting older. That's fine. Tell stories about them getting old. Crichton is noticeably more portly now than he ever has been before.
Which I love that they never really address.
Yeah.
It's just like, because the audience knows.
Yeah,
it's fine. You don't need to address it.
Robert Llewellyn's in, like, is he what? Is he late 50s, early 60s? Like,
they all are, yeah.
Let him be whatever bloody shape he wants to be. Last bit of Red Dwarf, we move on. My favourite thing to come out of the stuff around the release of this was on the morning of, they appeared on, I think it was Good Morning Britain, over obviously FaceTime and stuff to like talk to the host, and it was meant to be the four lads and Doug Naylor. Yeah. And Danny wasn't on, and they spent the whole thing answering questions but taking the piss at the fact that he's always late. And then it was a technological hiccup apparently. It finally kicked in as they were wrapping up the interview. So the interview ends with them all like saying bye thingy and then all shouting like, "Hi Danny, hi, oh yeah, rocking up now at this time," and all this. To the point where like the host had to kind of go along with it because they were trying to end the item and move on, but they couldn't. So it keeps going for like another 2 minutes of them just ribbing Danny John Jules before they eventually wrestle control back and like, more after this. Ad break. It's like brilliant.
That's quite good.
Brilliant. I love the fact they all still take the piss out of each other and go for it. Makes me very happy. I to think we could have had no more of it at one point because Chris Barry and Craig Charles legitimately hated each other's guts for years during the early series.
It happens.
Which is why I think their performance in Marooned is so good.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you two hate each other and you can feel it, but it doesn't affect the comedy. It's like, this is great.
In fact, it's in service of the comedy.
Yeah. And now they're bezies and you still think they hate each other in the show because they play it so well.
Well, they've been doing it for so long.
It's very, very true.
Right. What else?
Meats. No, not meats.
I've got an email for you.
Yeah, we've had a few bits of communicado.
But the email that we've got is specifically requested that you read it.
Oh, Tatty Bo Jangles.
Yeah.
Right, 1 second, because my computer plays havoc if I try to faff
Bring
around.
it up on your phone, cocker.
I could do, but I mean, I'm going to have to log into it on one of my thingies.
You're not logged into it?
Not right now. Are you able to screen share?
Yeah.
Ooh. We're on the Skypey Doodads. While you're doing that, I'll just put it up. I put it out on Twitter, just to sort of scope, see what people are feeling. I said, what fictional character are you as crazy as by this stage of self-isolation? Let us know. And the two responses we've had since I popped the tweet out is from Simon Webb. Hello, Simon. Simon says, having to juggle working mishmash shifts, and all these shifts has got me feeling like, and it's a gif of screaming Evil Willow. As you do. And Emma Drury, hello Emma. Emma has said, another Buffy one. Drusilla felt most appropriate since I'm rewatching Buffy. And a gif of Drusilla.
Keeks has been rewatching Buffy. She's currently, on the subject of Evil Willow, she's currently coming towards the back half of season 6. So.
Oh, you taste like strawberry.
She was watching Hell's Bells when we started, so.
Not Hell's Bells.
Hell's Bulls.
Not Hull's Balls. Not the Bulls of
Can you see my screen?
I can. Oh, there we are. I just saw the title of the email.
Right, tell me when to I'm not looking at the content of the email, so tell me when to scroll.
No, that's all right. Tell you what, scroll down a little bit already. So this is called Get Me Pictures of Alan Spiderman. Can Chris read this out? As he's already heard the jokes, so they're mostly for Matt. My original plan. This is from lovely Ian. My original plan for this week's scroll up slightly. My original plan for this week's email was a mini review of episodes 3 and 4 of The Mandalorian. But as Chris has been streaming Spider-Man daily at twitch.tv/officialcdj, and I'm on to superhero films with my daily movie watching. He was in the comments, the streams telling us how he's going through the X-Men films. I said to him, you're supposed to do things to keep you in a good mood during isolation, but whatever. I thought I'd use some of the light-hearted superhero witticism and quips inspired by Peter the web along with my own superpowers. As with great powers comes great responsibility. So it'll just be Ep 3 review this week, along with some good superhero chuckles. Here are your jokes, Matt. Do you know how many billionaires it takes to make a superhero?
No.
3. 2 to get murdered, and 1 to never get over it.
Very good, very good.
Captain America, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Iron Man and Hulk all walk into IKEA. Avengers, assemble. Anyway, scroll down slightly. Episode 3, The Sin, aka Free Baby Yoda.
Free Baby Yoda.
Emotion. Got a bit of sweet emotion in there. Obviously, he doesn't give up Baby Yoda, but it doesn't. Oh yeah, guys, minor spoilers for The Mandalorian episode 3. But it doesn't spoil the interest in guessing what the sin is, even if we can guess it. For someone who doesn't know much Star Wars, I do feel, while it isn't spoon feeding me, it's definitely using the right words for me to connect the dots. But this might be different from someone who isn't a nerd. Oh, Ian, it's crazy how they can put a load of boxes in a room. Yet each room can have its own style. Once again, I assume because this was all planned for and taken time over. That's a good point, actually. The set design of The Mandalorian is very minimal for a lot of the scenes.
If you've seen some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, a lot of what you see is back projection, is rear projection.
Yeah. So it's just a case of moving boxes in the foreground to look like different parts of boxes.
And then they just put up a different projection on the back screen and it looks like a set.
We can also assume that the birds will be something like a lifeline in dire situations and will be slowly used throughout the series before the big bag bits, and we really need them. Still good overall, but I'm desperate for more! 7 out of 10.
With sling birds. Can we just say, the fucking, I can't remember what they call the character, but the blacksmith character is fucking awesome.
Oh, she's amazing.
She's just the best. And
the fact that her Mandalorian armor is more reminiscent of like a knight's armor from English medieval history, right with the nose guard and everything. It's just like, oh, that's so cool. Scroll down, dear boy. I'm just make sure there's any jokes. Oh, there is another joke. So here we go. Yeah, but the past 3 days, I was watching the original X-Men trilogy, and I actually applied to Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters as part of the X-Men. When I arrived, Professor Charles Xavier asked me what my mutant power was. Hindsight. Well, that won't be of any use, unfortunately, Xavier retorted. Yes, I see that now. And was escorted off the premises before they were rebooted by Disney. No, I do think there'll be some huge changes, like Disney removing the most promiscuous X-Men, Professor XXX. It's such a shame my power wasn't good enough, as I had already thought of my superhero name and everything. I was going to call myself Ironic, so when there's trouble and I'm running away, people will be like, isn't that ironic? What do you call... What do you call a bunch of zombies dressed as superheroes? The Necronomicon.
Fuck.
What do you say to a group of Marvel... What do you say to a group of Marvel superheroes who can all play musical instruments? Avengers Ensemble.
No.
And I've saved my favourite joke. Salutes to you both, Ian. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks,
or
Ian.
Edward Morgan Blake, as I'm the comedian, and after all this, you'll definitely want to throw me out of a window.
Very good.
Good work, sir. Good work.
Very good.
Good work, Sir Ian, sir. That's good. Oh, bless his little heart.
Christopher.
Mattstopher.
It's episode 200 next week.
I know, and as such, folks, it being a monumental occasion, we think it's only fair that you send us tribute. And you can do that in a number of ways. You can do it monetarily by going to patreon.com/bigdamcast and supporting our endeavour, especially at this time. It's hard to create stuff in this weird insular world, but we're going to try our best to get some bits and pieces together that will be slightly more simplistic compared to previous stuff, but we'll do things in the world and it will help a lot. Plus you get onto the Discord and it's full of cool kids. Not only that, you can support us.
Cool for kids.
God, Squeeze, right?
Yeah.
Love Squeeze. And Slap and Tickle, which is one of their songs. Anyway, You can also support us through contentual means. That's a word now. By emailing us bigdamcontact@gmail.com. But not just that, you can get in touch on Twitter @BigDamnCast. You can watch us on twitch.tv/BigDamnStream and check out the Big Damn channel on YouTube for all of that good gubbins. Next week, business as usual. We'll see what we can dig out for episode 200. And as for the 4th anniversary episode, 208, well, we'd like to do something cool, but it all depends on you lot staying at home and washing your damn hands! Just saying.
Wash your dishes.
That's That's my PSA. Oh, Matt. I think I've PSA'd myself.
How dare you?
Yeah, let's go.